Purchasing air filters directly from the manufacturer definitely has its perks. Factory direct air filters doesn't just sell filters, but they manufacture the Aerostar air filter brand. So basically, you're cutting out the middleman. If you manage multiple properties or commercial service contracts, they do have bulk discounts, but they also offer wholesale pricing as well. They've got consistent inventory and standard sizes ship within 2 days. They also do unique sizes to spec, and that's within about 5 days. They have free shipping across the US. So if you guys want to get your filters faster and cheaper and built to spec, factorydirectfilters.com is the place to go. All right, guys, part 2 with David Kim from LG. Now, if you listen to the first part of this recording, which was episode 1, we did go through what VRF is, how it works, modulating compressors, heads with their own metering devices, their own control, so each space or room can have its own desired comfort, which is a pretty cool thing. So we're going to get back into more of the conversation with David, talk more about what LG is doing in the world of VRF, and we're going to get to that right now, guys. This is the HVAC Know-It-All podcast, and I'm your host, Gary McCreadie. This podcast is sponsored by Cool Air Products, Cintas, and supplyhouse.com. Go to the show notes and click on the links to check these guys out. So the hydronic solution or hydro kit, what exactly is that when we're talking about? Is this something that interconnects to the multi-VI? Is it something separate, or is it installed as what? Like, talk about it for a minute, because I'm learning too.
Right. Hydro kit is basically like a type of indoor unit. So typically your rough indoor unit, you're doing, from the outside air, you're doing air to refrigerant, right? And then from indoor, we're doing refrigerant to air, right? It's the air to air system, right? To provide cooling or heating. Now, hydro kit is air to water system, right? So it does heat exchange between the refrigerant to water. So we're using a VRF technology to either cool the water or heat the water. So it is the best solutions to remove boilers, basically, and then remove the greenhouse gas emission inside your building. There's 2 different types of the hydro kits. There's a mid-temperature hydro kit and high-temperature hydro kit. Right. The key difference between the two is mid-temperature hydro kit is just basically a plate heat exchanger inside the indoor unit. Right. So it's just refrigerant line comes in, and then we're doing a heat exchange with the water. High temperature hydro kit, the difference is it has a separate refrigerant system in it to create cascade system. So refrigerant will do the heat exchange with the refrigerant, and it's going to boost up the pressure, and then again does the heat exchange between the water. And therefore, by using a high temperature hydro kit, we can create the water temperature up to 176 Fahrenheit, right? Perfect for domestic hot water. And then mid-temperature hydro kit will be perfect for domestic hot water preheat and also for in-floor heating.
What about, like, I'm thinking of like mechanical buildings that are existing that have old equipment where you've got like a boiler in a basement and they've got radiators or fan coils around the building. Can you use the hydro kit to replace the boiler in that situation where we're sending the water now to the fan coils via pumps?
Yep, definitely. Most of the case, depending on the required spec of the existing building and depending on what kind of water temperature that they require at a certain given time, yeah, we can definitely use the hydro kits to replace it. Now, we have something called water communication kit, because hydro kit, the biggest downside of hydro kit is limited capacity. So we also have a hydro kit in size of 3.5 ton and 8 ton for the mid-temperature hydro kit, and 3.5 ton and 6 ton for high temperature hydro kit. We don't have anything under 3.5 ton or between 3.5 and 8 tons or above 8 tons, right? So to overcome that weakness, we have developed this water communication kit that allows our VRF to be connected to a third-party plate heat exchanger. And by using this concept, we can go from 1 ton to 32 ton within one system, right? So for example, let's say you're working on a 32 ton system rather than having 4 of the hydro kits, right? You essentially require only one system, right? And then on a residential applications, you may not need a 3.5 ton of capacity of water, right? So in that case, by using a water communication kit, you can reduce it down to 1 ton.
Interesting. Really cool. So is this like the hydro kit? Obviously, we're sending refrigerant in and water in, we're exchanging heat. How big is this? Like, what sort of space requirements do we need to put this in?
The hydro kit box itself, the size isn't that big. High temperature hydro kit is bigger than the mid temperature hydro kit because it has a separate compressor and the refrigerant cycle in it. But essentially, you can think of it as, I don't know, it can go into any of the small mechanical spaces. Think of it as the size of two guitar, case. I'm just saying guitar case because I have a guitar beside me right now. It's not that big in terms of the size, right? So you can think of it for a residential application, right? You just put it on top of the laundry space or a boiler room or underneath some small mechanical room. All different kinds of options are available with the hydro kits.
Okay. And you did mention it can do domestic hot water.
Right. Indirect domestic hot water.
Indirect domestic hot water. Yeah. So let's say you have a VRF system at your home. It's cooling, it's heating, whatever it's doing. Can we mix and match? Can we cool and heat and do the domestic hot water too? Additional?
That's where you're getting the benefit of the VRF heat recovery. So essentially, during the summer times, you're extracting the heat from the zone in cooling mode, right? And you're using that heat to heat that domestic hot water, right? So you're essentially recovering the heat and then reusing that heat for your water usage. So that's where the benefit of the heat recovery VRF system comes in.
It's very smart. I mean, it probably took, you walk across a roof or a residential system or whatever, and there's a whole bunch of heat coming off the thing. And you're like, somebody smart has got to be like, where can I use this heat somewhere else? Right. And that's probably where it all started, is like, how do I utilize this heat to do something beneficial with it to make this equipment more efficient? And it's crazy how technology just advances and we get better and better and better at doing that. So again, mind blowing to me. So industrial processing plant solution. So you have a solution for that as well, right? Is this correct?
So it goes on par with the hydronic solutions we have. We have different, like nowadays, especially that the data centers are coming up, and a lot of cases where the factory comes into a place. We have LG has the VRF solutions that can. By using the hydro kits, we can proceed with that. But most of the cases, in this case, the tonnage of the requirement is bigger than what HydroKit can provide, right? So essentially, we're coming up with the chiller lineups that we already had in the past in Korea right now, and we're trying to bring that up in Canada and North America and down in the States right now too. Essentially, we have the ones that we currently have in the Canadian lineup is called the inverter scroll chillers. These are the chiller heat pumps that's equipped with the scroll compressors, operational down to minus 30 Celsius in heating, and can provide chill water and hot water throughout the season. The tonnage of it is, the one unit can go up to a 60 ton, but then by using a one controller, we can control up to 5 units together to make it into 300 tons in a single system. And then we're now coming up with a new unit that essentially will be a 90 ton and single 3-frame unit system, which will increase its capacity for the inverter scroll chillers. And that down in the States, they have centrifugal chillers and air-cooled screw chillers as well, water-to-water chillers, and there are a lot of chillers that's coming up in the future as well, essentially targeting those data centers that are booming in US and are slowly coming up to Canada as well.
Now, I've spent a good chunk of my career in data centers. Not as big as the ones they're building nowadays, but I've spent a lot of time in them. So it wasn't, I would say it was a mix between like a system similar to like a Liebert, and there was some, and as back when I started installing, a lot of data centers were kind of making the switch to like mini splits or VRF. So is that a huge application now for VRF, is these data centers?
Well, I would say for small and mid-sized units, yes, it still is. Especially with the mini splits nowadays, a lot of the mechanical rooms and the server rooms, they essentially have a mini splits installed independently to the VRF system, because obviously the VRF is essentially designed for comfort cooling and comfort heating. So it's better to just have a dedicated mini split for those areas. And also by using the wind baffles and some of the controls, we can continuously operate down to -40 in cooling mode as well for those mini split systems. But then the reason why the US, I would assume they are going with the screw chillers and all that is because the size, the capability, the big data centers that are coming up is essentially not just that efficient to go with the VRF or the mini splits, right? So essentially for small applications like server rooms, I still see that there's a benefit of going with the VRF or the mini splits for them. But for the data centers that are happening in the US right now, has to be chillers with those sizes because we're looking at like hundreds of or whatnot, 1,000 tons, for example, per building.
Okay. All right. So for the next few minutes here, let's move it to residential applications from an LG standpoint. So you guys do have cold climate heat pumps for residential systems, right?
Right. So we got the Innovation Award at the AHR Expo 2025, and then we also got the Air Quality Innovation Gauntlet Award on this specific unit called the Deluxe unit. So this is the warm unit that can go down to -35 Celsius in heating, right? And then it can provide 100% heating down to -25 Celsius. So essentially, where in Canada, a lot of people think it's a lot is cold, but most of the areas where the Canadians are living, it's not that cold, right? It doesn't go down to like -35 for weeks, right? Even if it goes down, it's for a couple of hours. So especially in Toronto, yes, there were some cold seasons, but then how many times do we actually go under -25 C in Toronto, right? Not a lot.
Not like not like we used to. Toronto is a lot warmer than what it used to be. Like I remember growing up as a kid very, very close to, I live about an hour and a half north of Toronto now, but I remember as a kid living close to the GTA, the amount of snow that we had, it was ridiculous. And now when you drive in the middle of January downtown Toronto, there's barely any snow.
Exactly. So by using this unit in the current weather, right? Most of the times you're not going to require any additional heat. You're not going to require a baseboard heater or any of the auxiliary heaters by using this, Deluxe S1 Walmart unit. And that's how we got this innovation award in both AHR 2025 and the innovation gauntlet at the Air Quality.
So the wall mount unit is basically a spot heating cooling. It's not centralized.
No, exactly. It's not a centralized system. But then because we have this technology to go down to -35, I believe that LG will continue to proceed with this concept of expanding our equipment list to the centralized system, right? Because especially in Ontario, a lot of people are now going for a dual fuel system, which is using a heat pump technology on top of the furnace, right? Using an AccuWeather heat pump and a furnace. If you have, I believe the LG will expand to that field as well. We have the unit that is capable of going down to -25 in that dual fuel concept, providing 100% heating down to -15 Celsius. So essentially, by using the LG's, we call it LG Red, reliable to extreme degrees. That's where the red comes from. All the LG Red equipment is rated down to -25. So if you use the dual fuel with LG Red equipment, you don't need to turn on your furnace down to -15 C, which is around like 90% of your season, right?
Yeah. Okay. So as far as dual fuel goes, you can use that with like third party furnaces, like any furnace you choose, and still integrate it.
Yes. So we're basically, so there's two different kinds of control with the LG unitary system. Number one is by using a third party thermostat such as Ecobee, Nest, Honeywell, whatnot it may be. Essentially you're just using a 24-volt contact signal to transfer the signal throughout the heat pump line. So the furnace will receive the signal to turn on, signal for fan operation, staging and all that, and the outer unit itself also gonna get the signal from the third-party thermostat, right? Uh, the downside of that control is you're installing the inverter compressor, but you're installing it as a two-stage compressor, right? Because essentially the thermostat is not capable of sending the room temperature, or we can get the room temperature from the return air, but then it's not capable of sending the set temperature to the LG system, right? It's sending the 24-volt signal to on, off, right? So the thermostat can send Y1 signal for stage 1 and Y2 signal for stage 2, and that's all it does, right? We just have a 2 target pressure and that's it. However, we have this second solution by using LG thermostat with EIM. EIM stands for enhanced. By using that EIM, what it does is between the thermostat, EIM, and then the LG outdoor unit, we're using the RS-45 line, 2-wire RS-45. And then from the EIM is sending the contact signal to the furnace to turn on the fan and to turn on the furnace, whether if it's a single stage furnace or a double stage furnace. And it can also be configured to send out the signal to turn on the accessories like humidifiers, for example, right? And by using that concept, when the person sets the set temperature on the thermostat, we know what the actual set temperature is, right? And then in that way, we can actually utilize the true potential of inverter compressor rather than just acting it as a single or double stage compressor, right? So this is a new concept that we're bringing into the residential market right now. And obviously, by using the solution, has to be the LG thermostat, and you have to use this EIM. But another good thing about the LG thermostat is has the built-in Wi-Fi just like any other thermostat. One other good thing is capability to be configured through LG ThinQ. So LG ThinQ is our LG's own app that can be controlled that can control all the LG appliances. For example, if you have LG refrigerator, stove, microwave, vacuum, air purifiers, and the air conditioning, you can control all that through one app. And that's the biggest advantage that you can have through LG, just having all solution into one app.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but that is the way of the world. Everything is connected. I honestly don't even remember what brand my stove is upstairs, but my wife connected to the stove with her phone. And when we're out and the kids are home, she gets notifications, the stove is on. She's like, oh my God, the stove is on. Then she's calling, did you turn on the stove? Like, so, I mean, it brings like the next level of sort of safety, I guess, because if somebody were to walk by the knob of the stove and hit it by accident, now it's on. My wife is getting this notification saying, hey, the stove is on, which is kind of cool. One last question I want to ask you is because I've got a note here about the LG Multi VI, and the note reads, AI linked to AccuWeather can detect rain, snow for a snow removal function. What is that? I just read that and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so this is part of the AI feature that we have in the multi-VI. So if the outdoor unit is connected to our internet, we can read the data from the AccuWeather app. So what the snow removal is, basically when the unit is standing idle, right? And then if the snow accumulates from the top, we want to remove this snow, right? So by turning on the snow removal function, when the system is off, right, the fan is going to operate every so often, right, to remove the snow. But it's going to operate even if there is no snow, right? Because we don't know when it's snowing if it's not connected, right? But by connecting to the AccuWeather app, we can only enable that when it's snowing, right? So it's saving the power by using it. It removes the unnecessary operation of the fan.
I was just interested in what that meant. David, thank you very much for this because it's been enlightening. I learned some stuff, especially from an LG standpoint and what you guys are up to. And I know we'll do this again. We might go deeper. Maybe we'll focus on something a bit deeper, maybe data centers, maybe residential, maybe like commercial. I don't know, but I think we should do this again and go a little bit deeper. But thank you very much. This was great.
No problem. Thank you for having me.